What's up? You're good.
Good evening. You're almost welcome to today's series where we're going to go through a tool called Trendlines with Breaks. I'm sure a number of you have been able to use this tool or have been able to interface it. So the Trendline with Breaks is just an SMC tool that we utilize when we are looking for entry points on the markets. And essentially how we use it is that we look for entry points where we have a break of price action to the upside. Same thing also if we have a break of price action to the downside. So let's just dig into the presentation and see how we can use this tool. So trend lines are not new to the world of technical analysis. And of course, they are crucial in making price action delivery levels to allow for potential trade entry points and exits. Trading of trend lines is focused trading, where we focus on the breach of the upper or lower trend lines, specifically at the points where a structure is broken on the price. So as you understand, as you may understand, of course, when we are looking for entry points, we are focusing on the market structure shift, either to the upside or to the downside. So if we see price breaking the trend line, of course, in this case now, the break is right here. And price action, of course, now has reversed to the upside. So this tool ideally automatically adds for you your trend lines. So you'll see it adding for you trend lines like this. It will add trend lines like this, in different forms and shapes. And of course, for us, ideally, what we're looking for is break of these levels. So that's essentially what the tool does. And this tool was actually designed for short-term trading. So if you're interested in short-term trading, this is the best tool for you to use because you'll be able to get very nice entry points using this particular tool. So let's continue. So we are saying trading of trend lines is focused trading, where we look for a breach of the upper or lower trend lines, specifically at the points where a structure is broken on price. So we are saying that the trend lines with breaks indicator returns pivot point based trend lines with highlighted breakouts. Users can control the steepness of the trend line as well as their slope calculation method. And also we are saying that the trend line breakouts occur in real time and are not subject to back painting. So as you may know, those who are aware, who might not be aware, when we look at indicators, we usually want to focus on indicators that are not repainting. So repainting is just a term in trading where some indicators at times will only show you past price action. So the disadvantage with that is that if you're looking for entry points and the indicator is showing you where price has been and not where price is forecasted to go, you're actually getting you're getting sort of like lagged guidance from the indicator, which is not good because you'd want to really focus on tools that are showing you where the market wants to go, especially if you're doing short-term trading. So the trend lines, however, may be subject to repainting unless turned off. So the good thing with this tool is that it will allow you to be able to turn on and off the repainting feature. So if you want the tool to only take into account forecasted points, then it will you can be able to remove that feature for repainting. Now, some of us, of course, might want the tool to show us where price action has been. And of course, in that case, then you can select the feature for repainting. So the other thing that we are saying is that a trend line tool focuses on printing trend lines based on standard deviation, line regression, and or average to range. So there are three things or three methods that the tool uses. It takes into account standard deviation or line regression or average to range. So this tool is really good simply because you're not going to get a tool where you can select, where you can switch between different, technical indicators. So standard deviation is essentially where we have price dispersion. So if you have price reaching very high points, and of course, price reaching very low points, whenever price reaches a very high point that it has not been at before, we now will say that this particular tool or this particular price, its standard deviation is at this area here, where price has dispersed away from its average trending area. Okay, so what the tool will do is that it will be able to draw the trend line along the levels where price actually was deviated upwards or downwards. So the beauty with this is that it saves you time. So, if you're doing analysis, you'd want to mark your high points and low points, but the tool is going to be able to select those areas for you without having to, do it yourself and waste time with your trading. Now, line regression looks a bit like this, okay? So I'm sure most of you have been able to see regression channels on different charts. So normally regression, it normally is in some kind of a descending rectangle. It looks a bit like this. So the difference between line regression and standard deviation is that for line regression, it does not take into account those points where price has dispersed extremely high or extremely low. For it, it's just marking that channel where trend is moving in. However, using the line regression might not be best simply because you're not able to get those support or resistance points where you can now sell or buy from. So it might be better for you to focus on standard deviation when you're using the tool. Now, the final one, and of course, one of the most important, is the average true range. So average true range, of course, is a tool that is not new to technical analysis. And of course, what it takes into account is that it's just taking into account the highs or close of price. It's a combination of ratios. So sometimes it will have the high plus close, or it will have the high plus the low, or it will have the high, plus close plus low, divided by 3. And of course, the only shortcoming with average true range for this particular indicator is that it does not give you permission to select where you want it to mark price at. So it will not tell you that, you can select the high or previous highs and previous closes, or previous high and previous lows, or maybe previous highs, closes, and lows. You're not able to do that. So that's the only disadvantage with it. And of course, this might be something that the creator of this tool might want to consider modifying going into the future. So let's just, before we go to the tool and see how it works, I just needed us to just understand what are the things that are taken into account. So let's now switch over to the settings. Okay, so these are the different settings that the tool uses. We have the swing detection look back, which focuses on past pivot point periods. The period should be selected based on the trading strategy. So we are saying that in case you're trading for the short term, then your swing detection look back should be, upwards of, rather downwards of 14 days, 11 days, 12 trading days, and some of the sort. If you maybe, for instance, you want to use this tool for trading higher time frames, you might maybe want to consider using maybe upwards of 30 days to maybe about 50 days. Okay, that is simply because you'd want to take in as many trading days as possible rather than as less days, because the more trading days you have, then of course all the price action you're taking into account when you're looking for trading levels. Now, the other thing that we also look at is the slope. So for the slope, what the slope does is that it will normally reduce or increase the distance between the trend lines. Okay. So if you want your trend lines to have higher slopes, then you increase. And if, of course, you want the trend lines to have a lower slope, then, of course, you decrease. Okay, so let's cross over to the charts and see what the tool looks like. So let's do that. Give me a moment as I get that ready. Okay, so let's just have a look at this. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are now on Trading View. So we are now going to select an asset. We are going to go with gold. Okay. So we now have gold, and now what you're going to do is when you get to your Trading View, okay, you're going to have to add the indicator. So how do you add it? You add the indicator by going to indicators and clicking on it right there. So when you click on it, you're just going to quickly search. You just have to type in not many words. Just type in trend lines. Okay. So when you type in trend lines, you're going to see trend lines with breaks, brackets, lax algo. Okay. So that is the tool that you're going to use. So you can see, or you can notice here that this particular tool has 17,000 downloads. 17,000 downloads, which means a lot of traders have actually been using this tool to optimize their trading. So you just click on it like this, and immediately you click, voila, the tool is going to be added. So it's a very, very beautiful tool, and I think you can see what it really looks like. It's really, even already, those of you that are watching, you can already see it has previously worked quite nicely, showing us very nice entry points there, very nice breaks, which would have actually gotten into. So now that the tool has been added, the final step is now to modify it according to how we want. So when you come and you click on your indicator right here like this, okay, it's you click on the gear button. So when you click on the gear button, it's going to bring for you this box. So I want to move the box to a corner where I cannot interfere with what we are seeing, okay? So I'm going to click on it again. Sorry, I think it disappeared from the screen. So I'm going to first of all change my colors simply because I do not use green and red like I'm sure most of you do. I use blue for my buys and red for my sells, right? So which means when I'm looking for entry points or breaks to the upside, I'm focusing on those entry points that have rather blue, and then of course sells to the downside. I'm focusing on the entry points that have red. Okay, so you can see the tool is already, it's been quite profitable. You can see we had very nice breaks here. So this was a very nice entry for a buy, very nice entry for a buy, very nice entry for a buy. And again, just by looking at gold here, you can really see the uptrend that is very strong on it. And I think gold is poised to have a much, much higher move upwards. So now let's come to the settings, modify them according to how we want them. So now the default settings are showing us that the swing detection look back has 14 days. Let's try and modify that to 10 days and see what happens. So when you modify it to 10, the trend lines are also reversing to take into account most recent pivot points. And of course, if we increase them, it of course increases the distance to take into account past pivot points. Okay, so you'll notice there's going to be some kind of a change. So I think you can see how the trend lines are changing. Okay, so next thing is the slope. Slope also modifies. So for the slope, I'm just going to increase my slope. So when I increase my slope, it's yet to reflect the changes. I think it's going to change any second from now. Just give it a few moments. Yes, so you can see the slope has been modified. Okay, now last and of course most important is changing the slope calculation method. For slope calculation method, I'm going to select standard deviation. Okay, so standard deviation, it's now going to get me the low points and of course the high points, right? And that is the best for you to use. So now I would recommend you keep the back paint clicked or ticked, simply because with back paint, it's going to mark for you most recent peaks where you can really get very nice entry points that you can use for your trading. So soon as you've been able to click OK, you can now see how the tool is looking. And if you see how the market was moving previously, you can clearly see that where we had the break of the blue line. So in this case, if my line here is blue, let me just modify that. Okay. If I modify it to blue, so where I had price action moving like this, okay, so you can see levels where it broke. So you can see, like, for instance, here, you can see what happened. To give you an entry there, you would have been able to get that. If you continue here, you can see same thing here. Okay, same thing here. So if it gives me red, so in this case, I'm having a line that's red. Okay, so something like this. Click my settings, change this to red. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Something like this. Okay, you can clearly see there, we had a very nice sell entry point. Okay, so now, what's the other important thing that of course, I encourage my students is that I always emphasize that look at the market. What is it doing? What kind of trend do we see? Put aside the indicator and what it's telling you. What kind of trend do you see? Are you seeing an uptrend? Are you seeing a downtrend? It's most likely that you're going to have to take more buy trades in an uptrend, simply because the market, is moving much higher. So you might be more inclined to look for buys on this trade, on this uptrend, simply because you're having, you'll most likely look for buys. And of course, the reason why you're looking for buys is because gold is printing this kind of price action. Okay. So this is what we are seeing with gold. We're having a lot of shifts to the upside. Okay. I'm sure those are very clear. You can see them here. You mark your MSS. So your MSS, that's what gold is doing. Okay. You see that? That's what gold is doing. It's doing something similar to this. Okay. So you can see MSS here, MSS here, and of course, all the way you can see where now, we are moving. So if again, it's likely that we are going to get, a breakout at this dotted level here, and immediately we get the B, we'll be looking for an entry point there that should take us much, much higher. So let me quickly go through some questions here in the chat. Hi, Maureen. Are you still on, Maureen? I hope you didn't join us and go. If you're there, please send me a shout out. Same as Rebecca. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. Check out, you're saying, in the FX Pesa platform, can I find this tool? Now, this tool is unfortunately not available on the FX Pesa platform. However, you can use it from TradingView and then take trades, you take trades using the MT5. So you'll do your analysis here, and then of course you can take trades on you can take trades then on your MT5. So it's merely an indicator where it will be able to give you those nice breaks. So the moment you get a break, then you execute on your MT5. So that is how you can use it. So when you switch maybe to something else, maybe you can even switch and you try using it try using it maybe on say maybe USD JPY, same thing. You see for you, so USD JPY, very, very nice break we got right here. You can see that was actually quite clear, you know, right there. Very, very nice break. And you can see that we had a very nice downtrend from there, if you cross over to crossover maybe to something like Euro USD, you're going to get a similar, price action. Okay. So you can see, the very many setups, it provided for trading. Okay. Yep. So I think that's it. I'm sure you guys were able to benefit from today's session. And I hope you'll be able to actually use this tool in your trading so that it can, fast track your profitability and allow you to, switch up with your trading, and make money. So do not forget the settings. Make sure that you're well aware of the settings and how you can use it, and be able to now, navigate and make your trading much better. So that's it. And I wish you all an amazing evening, and we'll meet again for our next session next month. Cheers, guys, and awesome day to you all.